Hi, this is a video response to the TruePooka and its video Onesium Better Off Dead Debunking Absolute or Debunk Absolute Veganism. Now, I have no idea if you're just debunking Onesian and why the debunk absolutist veganism is in there, because I'm going to actually give you the definition of veganism now for the purpose of all you guys watching. The definition of veganism as it stands today is a way of living that seeks to exclude as far as possible and practicable the exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, and any other purpose. So I was a bit frustrated is probably, yeah, let's go with frustrated. I was a bit frustrated to not see a definition of what you consider to be absolutist veganism, because if Onesian is an example of absolutist veganism, I'm not quite sure that that works in combination with the definition of veganism. As far as possible and practicable, and it has this fail-safe because in today's society it's pretty unpracticable for a lot of us to be without computers, for example. A lot of computer components and modern technology components have utilized certain animal byproducts, for example, in the making and production of it. So as such, this whole never ever kill or use anything that is the byproduct of killing an animal, I'm going to assume that not even Onesian adheres to that when it comes to not using computers, for example. And the thing that gets me the most frustrated is that Onesian is his own little brand of crazy. I think we can all agree on that, or most of us. Let the Onesian lovers commence their hatred. I'm okay with it, I'm a big girl. But some people consider an absolutist vegan, if I'm not even sure that works, but let's say an absolutist, someone who adheres to absolutist veganism, some people would consider that to be a person who does not adhere to the Paris exemption, for example, which includes, among other things, if you go to a fancy restaurant, you order what you want and you don't really make a big fuss about it. That would make me an absolutist vegan in the sense that I don't go to places like that, and if there's nothing on the menu for me, then I'll possibly ask for a green salad, and if they're not willing to make that, then I'll just eat later. So that would make me an absolutist vegan. But if you're equating Onesian with an absolutist vegan, then I'm probably not an absolutist vegan. You brought up antinatalism, which is not a part of the definition of veganism. I'm sure there are more vegans out there who are antinatalists. I'm not one of them. In general, I just feel so frustrated because there are a lot of weird people out there in all kinds of various aspects of philosophy that I adhere to. I'm an atheist, for example, and a vegan. And when people have these preconceived notions about, for example, veganism, because they've seen a video of Onesians, a lot of what he's spouting is not a part of veganism. It's not something that all vegans will agree on. The definition of veganism I read to you, it's fairly open-ended. The whole question about what would you do if the only thing available to eat was cheese or meat, well, then we'll eat it. That in that highly unlikely scenario, the definition of veganism allows for that, because it's not possible. If it's not possible or practicable to choose another alternative because there is none, it has that fail-safe written into it. Not all vegans agree on that, of course, and that's not the veganism talking. That's their own personal moralities and ethical sensibilities, or lack of sensibility, I don't know. That's kicking in, just like all atheists are not hardline skeptics. Not all vegans are exactly like Onesian, not even absolutist or more extreme vegans. I'm still not sure I need that definition, because I don't want to misrepresent what you're saying, but at the same time, it's, what am I going to say? Because you're saying that you're calling it debunk absolutist veganism, but I'm pretty sure that what you're debunking is just uneasy and crazy. You know, um, it's it's a I know it's a heated topic, but a lot of even some vegans don't seem to understand the definition of veganism. And I'm using the definition set forward by the Vegan Society because, as far as I know, they're the people who coined the term and who developed the philosophy. They're still around today, so to say that, well, in in common vernacular, it means something different. It is a philosophy. It's like saying all atheists are new atheists, because, or atheism is just anti-theism. Uh, it's a bit intellectually dishonest to be that lazy, I think, or intellectual laziness, whatever you want to call it, to just take a person and say whatever they're saying at the moment, as long as they mention veganism, everything that comes out of their mouth is a representation of veganism. It doesn't work that way, because unfortunately, whenever we talk about things, we add our own little spin to it. Now, regarding the whole animal issues, or non-human animal rights and human rights, I don't agree that that's necessarily what we have to do, give to put all animals up on the same level as human beings. And this is why, at least in the countries where I've lived, there is a difference in rights between livestock animals and pet animals. And if we use, for example, if we use a pig, here in Australia, according to the information given to me by my husband, if you have a pet pig, that pig has different rights from a livestock pig. And if you were to end the pet pig's life in the same way you would end the life of a livestock pig, that would actually be considered animal cruelty. There are a lot of things in that area where we draw arbitrary lines. If you were to house dogs the same way you house certain livestock animals, that would be considered animal cruelty. To end an animal's life, a pet animal's life, in the same way we end, for example, livestock animals' lives, that would be considered animal cruelty. So, from a personal perspective here, because I can't claim to speak for all vegans, at least for me, veganism allows me to not draw those arbitrary lines. And I think I would love to explain that further, but it's going to make for a very long video, so I might do that later on in the week when I've gotten everything up and running. This is YouTube direct capture because I couldn't get anything to work. We've recently changed operating systems on most of our computers, so that's why it took so long. And I don't want to be this frustrated, because I really like TheTruePooka. I really enjoy most of your videos, and I usually think they're very well researched. I'm just wondering what exactly you mean, because I'm not sure that I can agree that you've debunked anything that has to do with veganism, because I don't know if you don't know the definition, or if you adhere to a different version of definition, because I do know that American vegans tend to adhere a bit more to add a pseudo-spiritual aspect to it. I think it's been heavily influenced by Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism. But the actual definition of veganism as put forward by the Vegan Society, which is what most vegans, for example, in the UK, in Australia and such, adhere to, is the one that I gave you earlier in the video. So I don't know, it's tricky, but yeah, I've explained that, and I've explained my view on the whole animal rights versus human rights issue. It's it's a heated topic, although it really doesn't have to be. So hopefully I didn't use too much emotional language. I try to stay away from that, which is why it's kind of stifled. I mostly talk to other vegans about veganism uh, recently, so I'm having to to kind of modify as I go along in my head. But I hope this video kind of was a decent response. I'm not sure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and thank you for being patient with waiting for the reply. Technical difficulties, aren't they funny? But I hope everyone's doing fine, and I will put some links in the description box, and I will try to make another video in about a week or so when I get all the video editing programs up and running, or I'll just wing it again like I did here. So take care and stay healthy. Bye.